Okay, I would like to call today's White Lake Library Board of Trustees meeting scheduled for November 22nd, 2022 to order at 6:48 PM.
I'll second that. Or I'll make a motion or no,
We just call over.
never mind.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your call to order.
Yep. All right, we'll jump into a roll call
Vice President Jake Judah.
here.
Caroline here. Gwendolyn Newton
Here.
Jennifer Schultz,
Here.
and we have President Richard McGlue and Trustee Beth Rubis absent. Excused.
Perfect. Okay, did everybody get a chance to review the agenda for today's meeting?
Wait, those are the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, next phase, public comments. We will open it up to the floor for any public comments.
I don't see any public.
Let's say no public comments.
And there's nobody online. That's what I was
Can't
gonna,
do online.
is there anybody online, Amy?
We don't do it online.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
It's recorded.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
I didn't
Okay.
realize that. Thank you.
All right. So no public comments. With that, we will move to approval of the minutes. We have two sets of minutes, the budget meeting minutes and the regular meeting minutes, both from October 26th. I believe we can use one motion to approve both.
Okay, probably. Okay. I if everybody has read the minutes from the last two meetings, from the budget meeting and the regular meeting for October 26th, I motion to approve these minutes. Make a motion to approve the minutes of both budget and regular meeting of October 26th. I can second that. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. I just had to read them before.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, we'll move to officer reports with President McGlue out, no president's report. I do not have any vice president's report. Karen, do you have a secretary's report?
No.
Okay, and then treasurer's report.
Yes. If people have, we'll take a minute to look at the general fund sheet. And if there's any questions, and I do want to make a comment that I appreciate our accountant Joe for giving the aging summary. I think that was very beneficial. Thank you. And if there's no questions on this, please, I'm sorry. On October's fund sheet. Or on the bills to be presented, which are on page. Like they're under current cash disbursement, which is about page 6 in the financial documents. And if there are any questions, I'd like somebody's information to accept the bills as for payment as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the bills for payment as presented.
I can second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Now, do we want to do the finance committee report now? Or would we want to go through the director's report?
So I
first?
do want to bring that to the board's attention, that in going through the bylaws recently, it was noted that committee reports should actually come after officer and library director's report. So
Okay.
that's why you'll notice the change.
Got it.
Say that one more time.
So in going through the bylaws recently for general purposes, I noticed that it was stated that the committee reports should be after the library director's report.
Okay,
So I've changed it
okay.
to reflect that.
Which is how it was. I think there was only one where that was flipped,
Okay.
according to my.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, great.
Okay.
cool.
So were there any questions on the library director's report
No,
thus
thank you.
far? Okay. just some general updates. So a lot of the tree work is going to be happening soon, working with them to get that scheduled. So that should be coming up. The redbuds are listed. I'm in contact with the township to review next steps as far as any sort of tree removal or landscape changes as to whether we will need to change our landscaping plan or what that might entail. Because they have said that that would entail some sort of either a change to the plan or we would have to replace any trees that we wanted removed.
The township said that? When did this change?
As of today.
No, I didn't know that was, I didn't actually know that was in effect for White Lake Township.
So I found out and I reached out to them to see were there any forms that we needed to fill out, and that's when it came up. So I'm in the middle of questioning them through email as to, is there a way to either change the plan because we want to move a lot of different landscaping like bushes next spring. So I need to know how to proceed with that.
I'd actually like to see the township's policy on that because that's different from what I remember it to be.
Sure.
So if they've made a
was a
policy change on landscaping, it would be really interesting to see that.
It was a surprise to me. So
Yeah, I'd just like to see, that updated document. So we understand going forward, because we have a lot of changes that we need to make to benefit our landscaping, to ensure that, it stays as nice as it was originally planned.
And when we landscaped the patios, I didn't talk to anybody in the township,
yeah, no plan was submitted.
not that I recall.
And I understand, and this is my own personal understanding, that if the trees are on our property and they're not impeding or an enhancement to another property, that we're able to do whatever we want with the trees. So that's why I'm asking, because I've done quite a bit of landscaping in White Lake, so I'm really curious if there's a new policy. It'd be nice to see what that policy is. So it's understandable.
Like I said, I was surprised to find out, but glad that I did. So
And you didn't submit a plan when you put the landscape.
I didn't talk to them.
they have
Oh.
a plan on file. They don't have, I don't think they have all.
I think
plans.
they may, as far as I know, they only have the general plan when we built the building. They didn't look at the patios at all that I'm aware of. I'm not saying they didn't. I don't remember
Okay.
going through them at all with that,
Okay.
other than when even when we took the bricks from the memorial patio over at the annex and brought them over here. I may have shown them a picture of what we were gonna do with it, but I don't know that they had to approve it. I think it was more just to let them know what was going on.
Okay.
Okay, so I gave all my files and stuff to Heather,
Okay.
so maybe she can find something in the history, but I don't recall that being done.
I'll continue to investigate.
Okay.
Okay, we have an appointment with Gatzer Bush early in December to come out and check to see if we can brighten up some of the lighting outside at night in the parking lot. So they're gonna give us some tutorial on how to access that and take care of that. We received our salt delivery. If you haven't had a chance to visit the youth department, I suggest you do. They changed up where they have the early literacy items, and it makes a huge difference. Now we have a nice Lego table over there for kids, and we've already seen families enjoying it. So very excited about the changes that Miss Emily has added over there. We had a great in-service day. So the White Lake Police Department came out, and they did some Alice training with us, did a building walkthrough, which is very helpful to kind of show us what areas, where we should be going, moving, all of that. Gave us some suggestions for the future, such as items like a night lock for some of our doors to provide a little enhanced security if we were to go into a lockdown situation. So we're investigating those. We've got our emergency exit maps up. and did a fire and tornado drill walkthrough that day. Also had some fun stuff too, just to make it a little bit lighter. But it was a wonderful day, and so we're very happy about that. We put out a survey to staff to see how they enjoyed it and what we can do for the future for next year, and we're very excited. Staff have also reached, for kudos for them, they've reached their 500 book reading challenge for the year ahead of time. So we'll be doing that next year. Working to make some changes to our website to update just with our current vendor to see if we can't make it look a little bit fresher in the meantime here. We did receive a one-time payment for that hotspot grant finally. So you'll see that. We will have to fund that going
I was
forward.
just gonna ask you that.
Yep.
Okay.
But I just received some word about another grant that we're going to investigate that we might be able to apply for and see that go for at least some of the cost for next year. So we'll be looking into that. And then lastly, if you'll notice, we did do some rearranging to our internet computers. We're finding, like a lot of different libraries are finding, that post-pandemic public computer use is just down a little bit. More people are beginning to use laptops. And so we were able to rearrange the look of that area and make it a little bit more spacious. And we are finding that the patrons are enjoying it. So
Good.
And then lastly, just real quickly, are the statistics. So I don't know if you've had a
Yes,
chance
thank you
to
very, very much.
look at those. I do want to call out just real quick. We are up.
Were they at the end?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
separate,
there they are.
I would be at a good with that.
All right. you can find it.
it's at the very back.
Oh, very
It's at the
back.
very back of the packet.
I did look at them online. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so you'll see that we are on target for circulation to exceed 2021. And as well as many other items, our door count, we've had more people here in already in more than 2021. Curbside, obviously right now is a little low. We'll see if that bumps up as it starts to get colder. Internet usage up again over 2021. We are just ahead in program registrations so far. So looking good.
Yeah, but you have 2 more months to go. So that's.
Yep.
very good. Very
So reference questions, we're not quite there yet, but we probably will eke out just over last year.
What do we define as a reference question?
I'm sorry.
What do we define as a reference question?
So that's when they're coming up to the information desk and they're asking for anything from, do you have this book? Where is this movie? Items like
Got
that.
it. Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
I heard a couple of people when I was in the other day.
Yeah.
They were coming
Yeah.
to figure out their living.
And then you'll find overall stats for Overdrive, Hoopla, some of our Wi-Fi and Brain Fuse. So
Okay, so that's a newer statistic I hadn't seen before.
Mhm.
Is there any other statistics you want to look at as a measurement of metric?
I wanted to ask you that. I mean, we do have other online resources. So I
Well,
mean,
we just set these. These seem to be the things we had data for when we went through, how do we evaluate the library's performance
Sure.
to the strategic plan,
right.
you know, the director's performance to the plan, that kind of stuff. So if there's anything else you think would be helpful to look at, or any of
Yeah.
these are not really that helpful to look at, feel free to make suggestions, because we
Absolutely.
never talked to you about it when you came on staff. So,
Yeah.
you know, and this, I know this is new. So at
And
least,
one of the things I think I had asked for in the future, we could maybe start it in 2023 was, how many requests we have for specific books and in the genres that we're having, that are being
yeah,
requested.
okay.
It'd be really nice to know what our community is interested in,
We're
not
looking-
just what we're ordering, but what our community is actually requesting.
if
And
people
how
are
many
filling out
requests we
those
actually
forms,
receive,
yeah.
we actually got.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if a lot of people realize they can come in and just ask.
I know that we have a worksheet where we track what's
Mhm.
being asked for, just to mainly check to see, do we own it?
But it'd
And
be
should
interesting
something
as we go through
purchased.
the strategic planning to understand what our community is actually interested in.
And I just had a meeting with one of the strategic planning companies. So I'm gonna be very interested in everything to control informational wise.
Are we doing a committee for that?
I'm gonna discuss, I'm gonna bring that to the agenda next month
Okay,
to form that in policy committee.
okay.
Okay, those statistics look great. Thank you very
Cool,
much.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, with that, we'll move to committee reports. So the finance committee, so we have two topics.
Yeah, we did, we're almost done, I think, with the bank change updates, correct? And I know that ACH is well underway. And I have a few questions about that I'll send to you and Yvonne, because I'm still not sure why we need the dongle.
Not either.
Okay, oh, okay, well, then I'm not the only one that's like, with all these changes, why do we need this? So I will send that email and I'll be. And I'll ask. We'll see what that says. And we need to add Jen as authorized. I'll add Jen as authorized on the account as well, because she and Rich and I should all be able to make those kind of administrative changes on the new account. So we've moved over to this, to this other banking entity. And one of the things I'm really happy about is that we have that positive pay. And to
Yes.
really help us with any fraud alerts that we would have. And this update in ACH, we did set it to, so the savings account, I don't know if you noticed, that no ACHs will be allowed on the savings account whatsoever. So we won't have to worry about somebody trying to, do an ACH against that, against
Okay.
the savings account. Okay, so, and all and I appreciate Joe put together what our investments are. And so when they'll roll off, so we can keep track of those, make sure that we reinvest as soon as they come off, so. And then we had and then the last thing for the finance committees, we did sit down, and go over the budget again, in that finance committee, and I think it was very, very beneficial to help everybody understand, what we need to do going into 2023. So thank you for all the effort, April.
Oh, thank you. And I just wanted to say thanks to the finance committee for that, because that was extremely helpful. I did want to also say that at the DSLRT meeting that I was at last Friday, there were a couple of directors that mentioned that they had been victims of that kind of check. I think it's whitewashing or something.
Right.
I don't know what they call it, but and so, yeah, they were now changing over to the positive pay. So very excited to see us do that. Also wanted to mention that received that GoCo is our official first one to have gone through, which I saw on Flagstar.
Yep.
And by the way, thanks for, it is so nice to be able to log in to, to the bank and actually see, to confirm, okay, because I received invoices and they'll say, and I just want to make sure, has this been paid? Has this gone through? Because I can make note of that, and it's extremely helpful. So
Good.
that's
And
great.
the final thing, I think, for the finance committee is, we are going to receive, I think, next week, the credit cards.
Yes.
For the department heads.
Mhm.
And I'll reach out to the bank too on, how we manage that through that web portal.
Great.
Okay, and then I'm assuming that those expenses will be just like they always are, and we'll see the invoices and two people to sign the checks.
Yep.
Great. So that's it for the finance committee, unless, Jake, you have anything else?
Nope, I have nothing else to add.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. We'll segue into new business. First topic of new business, 2023 library board meeting schedule. Shall have a document in our board packets.
So I also wanted to make a suggestion on this. I know that you'll see that I added a Saturday budget review session, and I'm wondering if you want just the one or if you want two. Just in looking at it, I know that we would come together, say on October 21st, it would be like a morning, like a 2-3 hour session where we come in, we dig in, we look at it. And the idea maybe would be a second session to do a final review of everything and then present to the board. So I'm wondering if we want to do a Saturday, do you want to do 2 Saturdays? Do you want to do 2 Saturdays in a row, in between? I know you guys are busy, so what are some thoughts?
I'm thinking I don't want to do a Saturday.
That's what I was.
And we can do an evening. I
So I
just
mean,
don't
if we
think,
did like the week before, the third week of October.
Before the regular meeting.
You know what, though, with the length of the meeting, I don't like them in the evening. That, you know, 2
Mhm.
hours trying to go through the budget. I personally would prefer it was Saturday or just Sunday. And I know everybody else works, but man, it really,
Well, it
Yeah.
makes it really hard when we have the meeting and then we have the.
well, even without it, that finished late. And
So let me ask this, is it possible that, and I don't know the policy, so I'm asking, is it possible that we have the finance committee to review the budget first? With April before before it goes to the
And
board?
present it to the board.
Mhm.
I'm good with that.
yeah,
sure.
Because through that finance meeting that we had. Then in a subsequent email to you, it answered all my questions.
That would be really helpful. And because I think as a finance committee, then my goal for the coming year, just so you know, is to retake the budget and start to track so that as part of finance committee, I can then provide you a month-to-month show of what's being spent, how much has been spent in each fund number. And so we can track that as we're going. So I think by the time we get to say September and I'm starting to say, okay, here's some potential numbers that I'm thinking we're going to do for 2024. We would have those answers ahead of time. And, or as things come up and I say, you know, we really should budget for X, Y, Z, that might be a good idea for finance committee to be able to say that. So by the time that we get to the October one, where we're ready to present,
Mhm.
It's
we'd be
not a big
pretty
deal,
good.
and everybody that's on the finance committee does understand.
Right?
And then I wouldn't mind a separate short board meeting before the 25th,
Sure.
the official
Mhm.
board meeting.
Yeah.
But then maybe if it's only gonna be an hour, hour and a half, that we could do it at night,
Yeah.
Karen, you think?
Okay,
yeah, it's already, yeah, the finance committee has already gone over it all first, then the meeting wouldn't be as long anyway.
right,
Right.
A lot of it, I mean, I was looking at it for the first time because I
Mhm.
was having trouble with my mailbox.
Ah,
So it did go for a long time, but there was a lot of good information.
well, and I had lots and lots of questions, because it was the first time that I had looked at it also.
Mhm.
So I think just having the finance committee more involved in the overall, you know, finances of the library, it's gonna make a lot more sense next time.
So April, like a living document of how we're doing, is what you're
Exactly.
thinking
That's-
about, and then
that's-
we could review it
Right.
every meeting, every other meeting,
Yep.
whatever.
That's exactly
Okay.
what I'm thinking.
Okay,
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
So,
would prefer.
then
not
we just
Saturday
need a
'cause I
budget
travel so
review.
much in
Yeah,
September,
I don't
October,
know.
November.
Yeah.
So, and I can make the time to be back here during the week, but the weekends are really tough in those months.
mhm,
So do we want to do just a small separate one of the week ahead?
yeah,
I think that would be
I think
great.
so.
Okay.
So that puts us at the
So-
18th.
Yeah, that would be the 18th. Is that when we normally have,
So Wednesday, the 18th. And that will be strictly the budget review
Mhm.
session.
Mhm.
Okay.
Then my only other comment on the schedule is that is a month, I mean, will we have enough bills to review, pay at the end of the year? We only have 3 weeks between the November meeting and the December meeting. I know that was sometimes an issue that
well,
That's
what's-
actually longer than that.
it's longer than
Yeah,
that.
it's so the 15th of November, then we have the 22nd, the 29th, the 6th, then the 13th.
Oh,
So
the
it is
29th, so
full
there
month.
is another
Yeah.
week in there.
So it's
Okay.
full
okay.
Alrighty,
month.
because in the
Yes.
past, we
Yes.
tried to bump that meeting back and it was like, well, we won't have a whole lot to
Mhm.
approve and bills and
Yeah.
stuff.
It
Okay,
does show up as being full.
Okay,
okay. Then I retract my question.
thank you, Karen.
Yeah,
So I can make a motion to approve the regular meeting schedule as amended in this meeting.
And I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
I,
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it. All right, moving on to the next topic of new business, library board member application review.
So I provided you a draft of a potential board member application. Jen and I were talking just the other day, and she mentioned in the past that there's really just a couple of questions that you normally ask, along with, I think you said, the resume. So if that's how you want to go, that's fine too. Just let me know, and I'm happy to change this up. But it's up to you.
So is this what you have written here? Is this what somebody who's interested, they will receive?
Right, correct.
May I suggest that somewhere in there, the date of the next election is put in there so they
Sure.
know how long, they're on before they're gonna.
Yep.
have
you
to-
could just say the length of the term is
Right.
from December, whatever, January, whatever, to the next,
Right, but it would be till the next election, so that's why I was like,
it's only until 2024.
right, but
right.
that would be,
Yeah,
so that would
Okay.
be in there, so they would know. that-
okay.
That they're in until the next election, isn't that correct?
They are.
Right.
And then they'll need to, do the 100 signatures and
Right,
all that stuff in
Yeah.
the spring. Mhm.
yeah,
Or pay $100.
True.
it's not 100 signatures.
It's not, it's 50.
40,
40?
it's 40 or 60, I can't
Okay.
remember, but it's. it
All
wasn't-
righty.
Yeah.
whatever it
number
was.
and Or $100.
Or
Okay.
or $100.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would put that in there so they understand.
Yeah, right.
I actually, so I read this and I actually liked it.
So,
I thought it was very concise,
Mhm.
and I liked the questions that were asked.
Mhm.
Just because it'll help us to see these questions answered to make a determination, on up or down
Mhm.
for an appointment.
Do you want to ask for a resume or just ask for this?
I want someplace in here, it says, okay, submit an application, a current resume and letter of interest. So, I don't know. I think
If we're just gonna, a lot of this covers a letter of interest. Is what I
This
was
covers a
thinking.
letter of interest for sure.
Yeah.
But I think, I also think a resume would be beneficial.
Mhm.
But
And I think a separate letter of interest would be a good way to supplement a resume.
Okay.
Like talk about the resume and why it applies
Okay.
to the board
Okay.
and then their role.
Karen,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
no, I thought you had a comment.
No.
Okay. No, I like this, thank you.
Yeah.
Sure, and just to be clear, so I'll add the date of the next election term issue. And do you want me to add the township requirements or something that kind of points them to the township to find that information out?
What do you mean?
You were discussing about like when it comes time for them to run for election. Do you want me to add that or just,
No,
okay,
Here in the past, the former director was very helpful in saying, this is a reminder, this is the time that you should be filling out your application.
I saw that, yeah, in the
Okay.
files.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Otherwise, some people wouldn't miss the vote because they're totally unaware, because they've never run for an elected office before.
Okay.
So we don't want somebody that's doing a really good job to miss the vote, right?
Where would this
That
be
happened to me.
posted?
I had to pay $100.
So that's
I didn't
another
know.
good question. So
I
where,
been
oh, wait,
appointed.
Okay, so Denise really walked me through it to make sure that I.
This was before Denise, and it was before Larry, and I can't even remember who that person
Denise was
was.
very good about the last director, very, very good about saying, okay, I know you've never run for an elected office before, and this is a process that you have to go through. And then I did, and much of it was very confusing, and luckily the people at the county were also very helpful because, there's a lot in there about campaign committees and finances for campaign committees and.
I had to pay a $400 fine because I didn't know anything about it. And when I read it, I thought, well, I'm not generating money.
Mhm.
Right,
So I don't need to do this, and that is the wrong answer.
that is the wrong answer. And so I,
Yeah, I got caught in that too.
Yeah.
really, the people at the county were very, very, very nice. But I had to, and so was our township representative, our township clerk. You know, I spent a lot of time investigating to make sure that I couldn't get in that situation. Because, you know, a lot of it, you're signing, you know, legally that you understand this, and so.
So April, you're gonna put in here the length of the term,
Yes.
basically?
Is that what you'd like?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
I think that would be helpful.
Thank
And
you.
As
looks
far as
great.
posting though, so we can have this available physically in the building. I can add it to the website. I could push on social media. It's really how far what you're thinking.
Well, I would probably do those three things,
I agree.
but
In the
did
newsletter
we
as well.
take out an ad in like the spinal column last time? Do you remember?
Not that I saw.
Okay. No,
It must have been for something else. Okay,
so you're saying Instagram, Facebook?
or
Yes.
the library has a page or
Presence, yeah.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, we want to make sure that this gets out to as many people as possible, so that want to do something like this, so that they don't miss the boat, because it was only in one place.
And do you want this until filled?
No, I would like
Or
to say,
deadline.
I would like to give a 2 week or 3 week or whatever window of when to apply and then move forward from that.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair.
I can post maybe Monday, just after the holiday. People aren't going to really be paying attention right now.
Right,
Mhm.
that sounds good.
True.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Because maybe we could look at applicants at the 15th meeting.
That would work out.
Do you want them sent to you as they come in?
That would be.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Thank you. That would be great.
Yeah, then we'd have an idea of. what
Can you
we're
have,
looking
yeah,
at.
it's nice to see them ahead of time.
Mhm.
Do we need to make a motion to approve this since it'll be going out to the public, or?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, I make the motion to approve the library board member application as written and modified to include the length term.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it. All right, moving on to old business, we have the 2023 budget.
Okay, I just had a few things that I was gonna highlight for you with some changes after meeting with finance committee that we changed to. In regards to the staffing budget, that's gonna be this one here. The more horizontal one. We pared down,
Karen to be ready.
It's already here.
Okay, so we're looking at the staff. Okay.
okay, so we pared down a little bit of the staffing to removing one part-time clerk and one part-time adult librarian. We took the full-time tech services and changed that to part-time. And we raised the overall raise from 2% to 4% for the current staff. So you'll see that on there and the changes that came out to. I did lower a little bit of the sub budget with the additional staff. We most likely won't need as much as as I had proposed before. Lastly, on this one, on the second page, we were able to add in. We were able to lower, I think I mentioned previously, lower the cost of the life insurance and the accidental death and dismemberment policies, as well as adding in a short and long-term disability policy. Any questions on that?
Is this just this one comment? That's right. Where it says 2022, 27 employees were budgeted for 21 part-time, 8 full-time, currently 22 employees. 15 and 8. 2023 would have 17 part-time, 11 full-time. We're adding just 2 full-time, right?
Correct.
So it'd be 17 and 10. What do we have right now? Full-time. I'm just thinking that maybe it's gonna go 6, 7.
We have 8. It'll be 10. It'll be 10.
Okay, I just want one.
So that's just a typo.
Yeah, it's just a typo.
Yeah.
Because it was there before, but if anybody looks at it in the future, they ask.
Yeah.
What were we doing?
I'll correct that.
Thank you for all the hard work in that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's staffing. You want to move to the regular budget? I did provide just a graph, kind of giving you just a real quick visual of where the overall budget is being spent, percentage wise. We did make some improvements there. Our capital outlay is going to be more than our services and charges due to the lowering of the personnel budget a little bit. We were able to spread that funding out. So we're going to go from 15 hotspots to 25 hotspots. Those are very popular.
What happens when you try to log into a hotspot? Or is it a physical thing that we give people?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a physical thing that, so they're either there or they're not there.
They're either there.
When they go to get
yes.
them, that's
They're
how they,
either- yeah,
that's
they're
how they
either
know
here.
there's none left.
Right.
So with 25 of them, are we gonna be able to increase the length that people can have them? Because right now it's in a week.
It's a week. We took it down to a week temporarily
Mhm.
due to while waiting for the grant. So
Mhm.
once we can go back to getting more hotspots, we'll go back to the 2 weeks.
Mhm. So is that I'm not familiar with this. So is this a monthly fee? Or do we just buy it
It's a monthly.
and it's part of our Wi-Fi? Okay, so, okay,
It's part of the computer supplies
okay.
budget. Yeah.
So it's not something someone could like donate. They'd have to pay monthly or
Yeah,
they
it's a
could
monthly fee that we have
Yeah.
to use like through, is it, who do we? use?
T-Mobile.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just like how, you get data. and-
Mhm.
Okay, so just a few things to highlight too. So before I had mentioned the possibility of going with a company to have a new website. So we're going to work with our current website provider until after strategic planning, and then see what comes up in strategic planning regarding the website. There's definitely some changes I want to make right now, and it looks like in a limited capacity, our current provider can do some of that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're going to work with them right now.
Okay, great.
Okay. I think that's a good idea.
Mhm.
And then also, after talking with finance committee, we're gonna up the 3D printer amount requested and add in a 3D scanner into that as well.
Mhm.
So we can start to have 3D printer and scanning stuff going on. So we're excited about that. I did improve your budget narrative, so I think it's a little bit more understandable and easier to read
Mhm.
with the breakdown there. If you have any suggestions on that or anything that you want to call out. I did also provide you, I know you had some questions on Orange Boy. And so I hope that what I provided you gave you some,
And I have not read it yet, I will be honest.
okay,
I'd like to take the time to read it. But you're not making a decision on that this month, right?
No.
Okay, yes, I'll take the time to read it in the next week. Thank you.
It's part of what we're putting off till after strategic plan, right? Or-
no, this one,
Right.
we don't have to wait for strategic planning for this one. That really doesn't have anything to do with it. Although when I spoke with the most recent strategic planning company,
Mhm.
they work with Orange Boy.
Did they have a good experience?
They liked them, yeah.
Okay.
And I did mention in my email that we found out about 3 different libraries, just off the cuff that we found out locally that are using them. So, but the information I provided does tell you how they use the data, and it's really for our purposes. So, but you can see the security and stuff that they take.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions about the budgets? I will say one of the things, if you're looking under revenues, one of the things that I'm going to be coming to you in the future on is room booking. We're starting to see an increase in requests for that. And I do have some ideas, so I want to look at that in the future.
We have a
Yes.
policy.
We have
that
a
we never
policy, yeah.
really implemented.
So I'll be bringing.
So you
some-
could use that as like a straw man to start with.
Yeah.
And see
So I've
where
got
where that's at.
got some ideas on that, so.
The previous concerns have been, how do we staff that? Getting someone to stay to close the building, or is there anything they have to put back, that kind of stuff?
Right.
Well,
Some of the roadblocks were that.
and also I think that we've had some recent requests that we weren't probably anticipating the way that they're being used, correct?
Right. So there's more opportunity for us to rent
Right.
the rooms, the smaller rooms, and just to maybe open it up to whether we were going to keep it to White Lake or maybe open it up and then maybe just provide a discount to our White Lake residents and businesses. But that's a whole nother discussion, but it is something I do want to talk about it because it could increase our revenue. So
Mhm.
I'm really focusing on looking how we can
Okay.
increase revenue.
No, I
So-
agree with
Yeah.
that.
But we would always give preference to
Preference
to a
and
White Lake
discount
resident.
is, yeah,
Mhm.
but I'll come with something to.
Because otherwise, I could
Sure.
see that there's some commercial entities that would use this all the time and just have an expectation it might not be in White Lake.
Exactly,
Mhm.
yeah, so we'll address that.
Yeah, we had things like you can only do it once every quarter, or just
Right.
different things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
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 I don't have any more questions on the budget.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the budget?
It reflects what we talked about last week, right?
So are we going to do the budget tonight?
Do you feel comfortable doing it with 4 people?
I do.
Okay, let's do it.
Do
As
you?
well, I do. certainly
I
do.
think I
And know we
understand it more than I've ever understood it.
Agreed.
So thank you.
Can I did you get the last email with the breakdown?
I did.
Okay, okay,
Absolutely.
yeah, and
I really thought that's exactly where you were at, but I was like,
it was a good exercise for me.
yeah, there's just a few things that you and I think differently on, but I was pretty sure as I went through it, I'm thinking, okay, this isn't added in here, this isn't, and so I think I really did think I understood it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Sure.
And, and it was a really good exercise as treasurer for me to go through. So,
And thank you for doing that.
so.
I never mind questions, so if you email me and just
Yeah.
let me know.
You were very thorough and, like I said, this exercise is really helpful for me as treasurer. So I appreciate it. And I'm very comfortable with the budget as it is.
Yep,
Mhm.
so am I. We've
So
had
we've
2
moved on
regular
to-
board meetings and then the finance committee as well.
So we moved down to old business.
Yeah, we.
Yeah,
This
we're-
is under old business.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I missed
I will make a motion. Because we do have quorum, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
I will make a motion to approve the 2023 library budget draft as presented by our director.
Is that the draft or is this the budget?
Is it, well, it says draft on top.
But if you do this draft, then we have to come back for a final.
You might be right, so
I don't
I'm
know.
going to make a motion here to approve the 2023 library budget as presented by the library director.
There, I like that. I'll second that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Very nice job, April.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Next item is policy comparison and clarification. Leaves of absence.
Okay, so I do want to talk about this and now that I re-looked at your email, Gwen, I took time off and benefits to mean the budget. So now I'm like, okay, why is it about time off? Okay, so, but I do understand what you're saying. So basically what we did here is this leave of absence was basically taken, as you know, we had spoken to the attorney who had said that we couldn't do the FMLA. So what we did basically was to take this.
Because we're a government entity
We're
or
not large enough.
we're not big enough, so we don't have to do it. Okay. Or can't do it. Okay.
So basically, we took, which a couple of libraries that are similar in size that I had spoken to did the same thing. They basically took what was written in an FMLA fashion, and you have to remove everything that states FMLA. So it's really just making sure that all that is removed and basically kept everything else as close as possible to the same.
Okay, so then the library board has to actually approve the request for leave.
Leave of absence is
Okay.
considered privilege if it's not granted and must be requested by the employee, approved by the library board upon recommendation from the employee's immediate supervisor and the director. So there's a process of supervisor, the director, and it would come to the library board. Do you feel that that's necessary, or do you want it just to be?
Do you want to have a form for people to fill out? Would that
I
make
can do
it
a form.
easier to make
Yeah,
sure you've got all
I
the
think
data
that's a good
you're
idea.
asking for there?
I can do it one.
Okay, I just think it would be easier to do things equitably.
And so this is an unpaid leave.
So they would have to come down to the next page. So if it's a medical leave, they need to use their accumulated sick leave and paid time off first. Okay.
So.
And then if it's
And where does it say?
14-12-3.
It doesn't say that they need to take their.
Yeah, because I remember reading it when she sent it to us on.
Okay,
4.12.6.
thank you. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, Karen.
I knew I had read it when she
Okay,
sent it
thank
to
you.
us. So. And then for non-medical, they do not use their sick leave.
right, so they would use they'll have to use their paid, yeah. But they can't use their sick leave for non-medical.
If someone has a prolonged illness, are we going to offer any kind of extension?
So what we do have, well, I mean, are you talking just,
Like if someone's in the middle of chemo treatment, they may not be done in 12 weeks. So maybe they need 14 weeks, or maybe they need 16 weeks or whatever to complete their treatment.
well, do you want to? It's up to you. That's why I'm bringing it to you so that
I
we
mean, we're
can,
not paying them, we're just carrying their insurance basically.
they would have to, well, it
They
does,
pay their
they
insurance
have to
at
pay
that
their own.
So they're like a Cobra.
It's not officially Cobra. They just have to pay it. So we have it.
They pay what
through
we
us.
pay.
They pay us, so they would be reimbursing us.
Okay. All right, because I'm just saying sometimes a medical issue isn't resolved in 12
Right.
months.
Sure. Do you want, there are other, in the libraries, some had it very short, some had it about, this was about the average, and some had it a little longer. So how much time we give is up to you.
Well, 12 weeks is FMLA.
Yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
that's
That's a standard.
Mhm.
so.
I would be open to on a case by case basis.
That's what I was.
If it needs to be,
Extended.
if someone's mom is terminal. And she hasn't died in 3 months, she's got 4 months or whatever.
Right.
I don't want to say, hey, sorry, you don't have a job anymore.
Right.
Because that might be what they need to come back and be normal. That might,
Mhm.
So I want to provide a way for anything that runs outside of this 12 weeks for a specific reason.
Okay.
To be extended. I know that makes it sticky. But I feel like that's what I would like to do, because FMLA is different than.
Right,
Right, that's different than just, that you're
Mhm.
taking your.
Or maybe it's not, I don't know.
Right.
But to me, when you have an infant and everything's okay,
Mhm.
the 3 months is the 3 months.
Right.
But if you have someone who's in hospice, or you have yourself some kind of long-term treatment, what do?
okay.
I mean, we could just say, is there something about like holding a job commensurate with your position kind of thing? Because if it like really went out for a long time, then that position would be open for a very long time, or people would be covering it for a very long time. I just want to be
What
compassionate.
happened?
Yeah.
I absolutely understand that.
Yeah,
What happened previously?
I really don't know.
Okay, well, but previously we were part of the township,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And now we're not.
Can you think of any instances, Amy? Can you think of any instances where we had someone who was ill or had a family member that was ill and they
It
were
was out for a long time.
out for,
I was the only one personally,
uh-huh,
except for when we had 2 maternity leaves and they chose to come back earlier
uh-huh,
against actually us saying don't want longer.
yeah,
So
uh-huh,
I just took my sick time when I needed it to
okay,
go take care of my dad.
okay,
So I didn't need to take family leave.
uh-huh,
So we haven't had anybody else that's had to take time off.
Well, instead of the 4.12.4, where it says the maximum allowed is 12 weeks within 12 months. Could that be changed that, I don't know the wording, but basically. That if it's past 12 weeks, it has to be reapproved.
Yeah,
mhm,
You know,
something like,
That sounds good.
Instead of 12 weeks, you needed 16.
right,
Then you need to, I forget at which point you say how far in advance you have to let the
Mhm.
director know. You need to let the director know, so it can be approved or not,
Yeah.
depending on.
Right.
So instead of making that a very hard maximum is 12 weeks. Somehow get.
You need an assessment at
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
weeks if you,
If,
I
if,
agree.
if an extension is required.
Yeah.
It needs to be approved.
It needs to be approved.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're right, when you're doing end of life, there
Mhm.
isn't,
Right.
it's not written on their foot, so you cannot just say
Yeah.
that it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well,
It
then,
takes
and
months.
And military leave too. We don't know if we have anybody today, but we could.
mhm,
And you can't just say. oh,
That falls under something totally different. The military takes care of that. They'll do the. If you're-
Right, but it's listed here.
at the top it says,
But actually, if you're longer than whatever that is. Your job does not have to leave it open for you when. Mhm. Yeah,
See, but you know, and I've only worked for really large corporations that always do, so I
Yeah.
don't know how that works.
Yep.
Okay.
we. Had it happen, so I know that
Okay.
when you are deployed, you don't always do that.
Okay, yeah, okay. So back to my original question, are these leaves paid if they're a full-time employee? We don't say anything about if they're paid or not. If this leave of absence paid or not.
it says at the top, leaves of absence without pay. for a
Yeah,
period.
Okay, I apologize. For longer than 4 weeks, but not to exceed 12. Okay,
We could say something.
okay, no, I just didn't read the very first few
Yeah.
words.
On 4.1 to 4.1 12.4, we could say something, if an extension is required, employees should reapply. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
that's good.
Yep. Yep, great.
Is this implying that if a full-time employee takes a leave of less than a month, 4 weeks, that it is a paid leave?
So that goes then to another policies, but
Mhm.
so if it's less than that, then you're just under sick leave, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to just make a few tweaks that we've mentioned and then create the form and bring it back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please, that would be great.
That way, yeah.
And can you turn on where it highlights or
Yes.
types in red
Yep.
what's new?
Yep.
Okay. That's always helpful for me.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
You got
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
Okay. We'll move on to strategic plan consultant pricing.
Um. You had given us those documents before. Now I don't know if I can have them.
Yeah, this month I just wanted to provide you a quick update, and that is that I did meet with the Ivy group.
Okay.
So there wasn't really anything new as far as proposals to show you. Their proposals should be available by the end of next week, if early the following week after that. And by that point, except for you should have all of them, except the only one of those only provided you a preliminary proposal. I
Mhm.
can reach out to that group and ask them to provide the full-on proposal
Mhm.
so that we can.
I don't know if I
Could-
have the
could
proposal.
I don't have any of the proposals in this month because there were
No,
no
last month
updates.
we had the Midwest one.
Yes,
But I don't, in the Ivy group, we're gonna get one, Joe, we're gonna get one. But I don't see the one for the library strategies consulting group.
that would have been 2 months back.
Okay. Well, that's why.
So when we get to the point of forming the strategic planning committee, I'd like to bring all of
Okay,
those.
all right.
Yeah, I'd
Okay,
like to
thank
see
you.
them all printed
Yeah.
because they're so
Okay.
small on my phone.
Yeah.
I would like to be able, and I'd like to be able to look at them before we interview them.
Yep.
And maybe one of the first things we do at the beginning of the year
Mhm.
would be to make a list of questions or so
Yep.
we evaluate them all the
Absolutely.
same, maybe come up with a rubric for grading them.
And the strategic planning committee will make the recommendation, which consulting group will use,
Yeah.
correct?
Unless everybody wants to be in on it. I don't know.
And the RFPs should answer a lot of the strategic planning committee's questions. So
Mhm.
certainly after we look at all of those,
Okay.
if we have any more
Sure.
for the interviews. But yeah, so that's where we're at with the
Mhm.
and that's kind of gives you an idea of the amounts and why a certain amount
Mhm.
was budgeted for
And when do you plan on creating the strategic planning committee?
next month.
Thank you.
That, and I hope to do policy committee as well, because in the coming year, I'd like to have both a staff and a board personnel and public policy committees. Because the idea is staff will look at those and then they'll bring them to policy committee. Policy
Mhm.
committee will bring them to the board.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So any further discussion on strategic planning?
Joe is our accountant. Okay. Gotcha. I have none.
Okay. All right, moving on, drive up window zoning issue.
Okay, so just trying to keep you updated on this. So I consulted with the library's attorney to kind of really nail down who exactly and what should be applying for this rezoning. So to quote her, it's the library itself is the applicant, and then I can just do it on behalf of the library. So you'll see that I've started that, it's there. I've put in with the potential pricing. I don't know how much of this we're going to actually have to pay for and how much we won't have to pay for until I meet with the township to see. And
Can
that's
I
one of the
just
things
make a
that.
prediction right now?
Mhm.
I think you'll have to pay all of it.
Which is, yeah, so,
And I did budget for that. so,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Yes.
That was my next.
Yes. So, yeah, so hopefully some of this we won't have to. I find it hard to believe we would need to pay for a traffic impact study, but
Mm.
you never know.
It's hard to believe that a governmental entity is charging another governmental entity to do this.
Yeah.
Which happened the first time. But yeah,
Which, so even though it was posted that there was, this was being rezoned, it never happened. When this building was going up, there was a posting that said this area was being rezoned.
Mhm.
There was a big sign.
I remember.
Yeah,
So what happened to that?
I don't know.
yeah, I don't,
I mean, I knew the library was coming here because great big sign out in front of the property.
Mhm.
And it wasn't one that you guys did that said coming soon.
No,
it's just unfortunate. It's agriculture. That's the only problem.
Just curious what happened to that.
I don't know, because I didn't get involved in that until construction started. I wasn't on the building committee or
Mhm.
any of that. So I wasn't part of those early negotiations. I only got involved after we needed to decide where the trees went and where the
Who
sign
was-
could go and that
Who
kind of
was on the
stuff.
board at that time and do we have those minutes? Just
We
curious.
have minutes. We can always go
Yeah.
back.
I just.
They go back forever.
Yeah.
Liz was on,
You gotta
Liz
keep them
was on
forever.
the board at that time. She's the liaison right now with the,
And so she might have
Township.
an understanding why it never was rezoned.
yeah, because she was really involved in the purchase of the land and all that. She helped us a lot with that.
No, we don't ask her. Okay. I'm
Trying
just
to
curious
think who else
because
was
I do
on the-
remember that big sign that said this was gonna be rezoned.
And we had a board member named Karen, not you.
Oh, Karen,
She's taller than
I think she lives in
me.
my neighborhood.
Okay, there was a Karen, we can look at the records.
Karen.
I think she was part of that too.
That's how you know people. I would-
Uh-huh. Yeah.
When you walk your dog.
I have them all, I have all them in my office.
Okay,
I just find it hard to believe that this never got rezoned from agricultural to build this building.
I do know that when I went to get a deviation for the sign, it was
It's still agricultural.
listed as
So something happened and
agricultural.
it just didn't get done.
Yeah,
So. But it'd be nice to, understand that history a little bit. So, yeah, I do think that Karen, I don't remember her last name.
so begin with an H.
I can't remember. I do think.
I feel
think
badly.
She lives in my neighborhood.
Okay,
I can mention her name.
I enjoyed working with her.
So hopefully we don't have to do a traffic impact study because we're already doing that.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any kind of estimate of how it will be used? Like, it's gonna be 10% more people, or it's,
The drive-through window itself,
or we're expecting 20 people a day, or have we,
I am sure it will increase it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
which
it
would
will
be the
increase it.
only reason to do a traffic impact study.
Yeah, I guess so.
But will it be really?
I don't
more
know.
Traffic or just be people that are. not
Already
parking-
coming in?
Not parking.
Yeah, I don't,
You
in
know what
that
I mean?
regard,
Will we have a reduced door count versus? You know,
they can
'cause like we-
return now, they can return now.
On Old Book,
Right.
and now drives through the pickup. Right. It's not changing how many people have been.
Right.
Right, right.
And
That.
it's really gonna replace curbside, so when we, when this finally happens, then we have a statistic for how many people use the drive-through versus.
Well, you have a curbside statistic now, don't you?
We do. So we would be able to
You
have,
could show that.
we can actually do, in there's also a way to have a car counter. You can do a car
Mhm.
counter
Yeah,
too. So there's different things you can do for
yeah.
statistics.
But we have a curbside number now. That would be a good starting point.
Yeah.
I would think.
I will keep you informed of that, so.
If you need signs, 360 made signs for us when we had to post signs before. Just, the kind of sticking them around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe said that.
Oh, okay. Well,
that he could do his own
he's on
sign.
top of
He
things.
says,
Yeah. I was just gonna say that's where we got him before.
Okay, any further discussion?
Nope.
All right, we'll move on. Review of policy 1S volunteers.
okay, so this one you had previously asked a couple months ago now. To bring this back in a better format that more matched the actual policy manual. So we did that. So it gives you most of the same information. You'll see the categories, the description of duties. Real basic. I will draw your attention to number 7 on the next page. Volunteers shall wear an identification badge when working for the library. So we have already gotten the lanyards and the little pouches, and we're going to be making volunteer badges. And we're going to add those, give those to the friends as well, and they'll have their own that say friends. So that everyone that is in the building will have some sort of, that is in here for that purpose, will have some sort of identification. So staff will have theirs, and volunteers and friends will have theirs as well. So we'll always know who is who and who can be recognized.
Do you want to have like a board that has people's pictures at all to recognize people who help?
I
Or,
can with
or
the-
just names, or do
I
you
can
not
with
even
the-
want to do that?
it's hard with volunteers because they're not always, not all of them are here regularly. I mean,
Yeah.
especially when we start to open it up to teens,
Yeah,
that getting them, I mean, you can do that for your longer term ones, but
Mhm.
for some of your,
Well, no, you were just talking about recognition. I was thinking, how could you do that?
oh, okay.
Yeah. Maybe having a list on the info board out there or something. Thank you to our volunteers this month. List whoever volunteered that month.
We could get a volunteer tree.
We could do that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because we know Jen loves trees.
We love trees and leaves.
So for teen volunteers, give me an example of what we'll ask teen volunteers to do.
Well,
You
for
still
one
have
thing,
the board? Do you still have the BLT? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
they
yeah,
started it back up again.
Did they? Okay.
yeah, well, and so BLT is one way that we can entice teens to come, is because you offer them volunteer time on that. So they are the ones that can start to put together all those monthly youth kits,
Mhm.
teen kits. That's a big way to do that.
Does
Um,
that fulfill their volunteer hours?
It does.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I know Sabina had quite a few
yeah.
she had to do every
There-
year.
There's all kinds of projects you can do. One of the things that I'd like to talk about in the future with teen volunteers is to give them an opportunity to be a teen volunteer to the board. So they begin to start to come to the monthly board meeting. You have a
Mhm.
teen or two. They report on teen programs.
Okay,
Teen
great.
happenings, things that are
Yeah.
going on. And so they almost become like the teen library liaison to the board. And it's a great opportunity for them. So that would be something I'd want to bring to the future, but yeah, all kinds of opportunities. for them.
Okay, I just wondered.
Yeah.
I know when I was a teenager and when I was actually traveling, I did a lot of volunteer at libraries where I just restocked shelves.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we are doing that with any volunteers today.
We are not right now. Mm-mm. Yeah.
Okay.
It's more of a supplement to the work that, as opposed to stuff that staff actually do.
Mhm.
So, no.
Okay.
Okay. So do we have to say let's go on this, or this is our first round on this?
This
We
is,
made an update from last time, didn't we?
yeah, this is, I changed the format really, and if you're good with it, I'm good with it. It's really up to you. If there's any changes you want me to make, if not,
No, I've read through it. It looks
Yeah,
good.
I'm
No
fine.
questions? You have nothing to,
I'll make a motion to approve the changes to the White Lake Township Library Policy Public One as volunteers as presented.
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
so we'll plan on getting this together and getting it out to the public, and start probably right after the first of the year to invite people to volunteer.
I'm the motion.
It is.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at, can never read this,
I got 7:59.
7:59.
And that,
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Yay.
Yay.